Hey, Don P here, the ExoticPrenuer, and on this daily walk, I know I was thinking about here. I was having some, ref, re, uh, I guess, recollection and reflection over, a lot of times of where the priorities of like how how do people get into conflicts, or how do we coincide or communicate and collaborate, and then there's points of where there's a miscommunication or a miscollaboration, like what's going on. And after looking at the intention. So what I mean by this is you ever had an argument that came out of nowhere, or you ever was talking to somebody and you're thinking about things from one point of view, and then they come at you from a whole different point of view, and you're like, well, what the freak, where did that come from, or what energy was that is. And Stephen Covey, in his book The Eighth Habit, or was it Stephen Covey, did it. And the thing was the first thing was saying, seek first to understand, yet then to be understood. So in there, you're I have first started looking at it from like, well, how do I understand people, or have a lot more empathy towards people and their feelings and their emotions, so that I can understand them more, because I'm a very uh, linear person. So since I'm a very linear person, it's very things are very black and white. Say what you mean what you say, and we keep it pushing. Yet that's not reality. That's not the real world. That's just some people like that. The majority of people working at point of gray and extra interpretation and all type of other emotional feelings. And it's been taking me a minute for me to apprehend, because there are points when I have emotional space, or a space of like, well, why are you in your feelings? And then I try and anticipate, or at least think about what is happening, or what is going to bring up to a reaction, rather the reaction happens or not. Because people have a good tendency of not saying things to your face out of fear of hurting your feelings, versus those that do, just because if they don't like something, they'll say it in a text message, or they'll send you a whole long book or whatever, and you don't want to, like, you want to read it and you want to understand it, but you also be like, well, what the fuck is all of this about? And what I found is that every time you have an issue or concern, it's more of a space of, what is the pain that I was using you, or I needed you for, to relieve me from, to go to the next level or get something done. So, for example, if you let's say you had a friend who was given a ride to, and you was given a ride, but their pain was they needed a ride, and let's say they didn't have money at the time. So you see that and you understand it, and so you offer a couple rides just to get them at least up to their uh, paycheck or whatnot, you know, to relieve from their pain. And at that point, once they get their paycheck or whatever, you let them know, like, all right, go ahead, do your thing. You are you okay? Go ahead and start getting back and forth to work on your own, because you at least got to your first paycheck. And at that point, they may, they're gonna look at you like, why? You were my convenience, but not paying attention that, hey, that was an inconvenience for you, but you understood their pain at that moment, and you tried to alleviate it, at least temporarily. But when they react in the energy of, I've got to watch mine, I'm in a neighborhood. If they're reacting and think of a negative, like, well, why are you doing that? Why are you taking away? Why are you bringing the pain back to me? Because now I got to fend for myself, and you're no longer available to alleviate that. And it took me a minute to understand, to get that energy, or that space of where, like, that's life. That's life. Our whole job, in a lot of ways, is finding ways to alleviate pains that other people have in relation to your presence, your service, or your product. But so it applies in your business sense, but it also applies in your personal sense, in your mental sense, in your spiritual sense. That the lesson is understanding your pain, and understanding how your pain can alleviate somebody's pain or add to it. And if you're a person of any type of value, purpose, or servitude, you're naturally going to want to alleviate people's pains before you cause pain. And unfortunately, pain is always going to be there. It doesn't change as much. It's just you try to find ways for it to balance out the amount of pain that you're going to endure or work with at any given time. For example, when you're single, your pain is avoiding loneliness or trying or finding a way to get out of loneliness. So you go out and date and you go online and whatever the heck that process is to get out of your pain of being alone. You may even get a dog or a cat, and for that emotional support for the pain of being alone and having someone that you can count on or someone to count on you. For it, then there's the pain of not having enough income to come in. So you go out and get a job or you start a business. Well, when you start your business, you got to keep in mind you're. And this is a tip for your business. Whatever business you can, it has to have a pain point of alleviating a problem. Now, how does that work? If you're a hairstylist, you're alleviating the problem of folks that don't got nice looking hair, and you're doing it for them. Now, if you really want to become successful in regards to like having a high income from that lifestyle, then you add other services and products and really perfect your skill. You know, for me, it was graphic design and photography at the moment. Now I'm not doing that no more. Now it's books, mindsets, body sets, and mentorship and marketing on structure. So the pains of business owners that are lacking proper structure or needing to get in proper mental capacity to be able to elevate and scale their business to a higher level. I'm one. I am a very very good at what I do, and offering that pain point of just bringing clarity in their confusion, and then a strong sense of accountability, which is another pain point of relieving. Just having someone that you can count on or relieve the pain of being accountable or stand up for it. Now, in that energy, there is going to come a time where you're just going to get tired of it because you're gonna feel like you're being used or being misused because it's the other side of that is a reciprocation, and this is how you identify if the energy is reciprocal or it's just using. Now, and if you grew up in more less advantageous places, basically, if you grew up poor or broke, then you're gonna experience more people that's going to try to use you as a step up or come up before you get around people that kind of are already established, already there. They're not in a misuse space, but in a useful space where that the collaboration is more reciprocal than it is manipulative. So, understand that if y'all don't got the same thing, it's gonna feel like you're being used unless they're literally trying to get out of their situation and they're willing to sacrifice or exchange whatever that is necessary to get to that same place, and get to that same space. Because if it's a priority to them, then they'll make it happen. If it's not a priority to it, then they're not going to make it happen. It's really simple. The one thing that I love about the exoticpreneurs, and as I said, is that they're willing to sacrifice, put their team, get their alignment. They have sacrificed their mind, their body, their spirit to attract the next level. They will do that. And because of that reciprocal space, like they're willing to give it all up just to receive the exponential growth from that. You understand? That is what makes them more exponentially successful than traditional school raised entrepreneurs. That is the clear difference. School uses too much logic and not enough um, grit, so to speak. Because when you get out here, you understand people are people. People operate in emotional energy. And they operate in limited logic, 90 and limited logic, but a lot of emotions. And in that emotional space is the understanding that if you don't understand their emotional stability or their emotional state at the time that they're communicating, then you're going to lose them quickly. Now, I am not above that because I have fucked up a lot of many a times, and I say it frankly, I fucked up a many a times not understanding the emotional state because things are logical to me. Like I said, I'm linear, and I've been practicing for the last 10 plus years understanding the emotional space. So I normally have people that I hire and work with to expand my emotional or empathetic energy, and they do a lot of the talking for me. Because if you talk to me directly and you're on some bullshit, I'm going to call it out so quick, and I'm going straight to the jugular. We're going to get to the problem and get to the solution and get to it. So because either, like I share with anybody, you're either going to be inspired to move or you're going to be inspired to get the fuck away. But what you're not going to do is be still. You're going to want to get busy because I'm about execution and action. I'm not about whining and talking. Like when we talking is to get to the solution. That's it. So because of that, I, as a person who know who they are and trust who they are, know that we can get to the promised land because I know the steps. I'm going to be very more direct and blunt about it. Now that may not be received respectfully by many people as a whole, but is received by the people that are ready for it. So I have people that buffer those communications, that buffer the space, so that I'm not being read as offensive but encouraging, but they say it in a way that makes them not feel intimidated or conflicted, and that's the thing. So with that being said, understand that your goal, if you choose to be successful in life, is understanding how people's pains can become your can become a profit in business, and a presence where that you can be prosperous, but it also can become a problem if you don't take the time to understand the other person as you want to be understood. And with that being said, I need y'all all to stay healthy. Let's get wealthy. Follow me on Instagram. Make sure if you're looking to get some mentorship or coaching on your next opportunity, look for it. Just text Defined by Purpose to 248-773-4137 for a free consultation, and let's get it happy. Stay healthy. Let's get wealthy.